You walk in here saying that you've had personal and character issues in your past, including heavy drinking, which you wrote about. And you said, and this is a quote from you, that you said, "I sit before you as an open book." Yet you haven't actually said what personal challenges it is that you've overcome when you've been asked about them. So I'm going to give you an opportunity here to be as forthright as you say you want to be.
This was supposed to be another confirmation hearing. Another nominee walking into Washington, absorbing a few tough questions, and moving one step closer to power. But when Senator Mark Kelly got his turn, the tone changed. He did not shout. He did not grandstand. He simply started listing allegation after allegation and asked for the kind of answer that is almost impossible to dodge. True or false? Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense, answered most of those questions the same way: anonymous smears. And in that moment, the hearing stopped being about resume lines and started becoming something far more dangerous for a nominee seeking one of the most powerful jobs in the world: a test of credibility.
Senator, I was not involved in that. I don't know the nature of how that played out.
But you understand there was a financial settlement for a young female staffer who accused another member of the organization, not you, of sexual assault in a strip club.
We have multiple statements on the record referring to that.
But you claim you were not there when that occurred.
Absolutely not.
Kelly's argument was not that every accusation had already been proven in court. His argument was subtler and, politically, more effective. Hegseth had publicly acknowledged past personal struggles, including heavy drinking, and presented himself as someone who had overcome them. Kelly seized on the contradiction. If you say you have conquered serious personal problems, then what exactly were those problems? And why, when confronted with detailed allegations that appear to fit that description, do you refuse to answer directly? That matters because the job on the table was Secretary of Defense, the official who oversees military readiness, crisis response, global force posture, and advice to the president in war. In that kind of office, senators are not just evaluating ideology, they are evaluating judgment under pressure.
So while leading concerned veterans of America, there were very specific cases cited by individuals about your conduct. I'm going to go through a few of them, and I just want you to tell me if these are true or false. Very simple. On Memorial Day 2014, at a CVA event in Virginia, you needed to be carried out of the event for being intoxicated.
Senator, anonymous smears.
Just true or false? Very simple. Summer of 2014 in Cleveland, drunk in public with the CVA team.
Anonymous smears.
I'm just asking for true or false questions. True or false answers. An event in North Carolina, drunk in front of 3 young female staff members after you had instituted a no alcohol policy and then reversed it. True or false?
Anonymous smears.
December of 2014 at the CVA Christmas party at the Grand Hyatt at Washington, D.C., you were noticeably intoxicated and had to be carried up to your room. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
Another time, a CVA staffer stated that you passed out in the back of a party bus. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
In 2014, while in Louisiana on official business for CVA, did you take your staff, including young female staff members, to a strip club?
Absolutely not. Anonymous smears.
So, is it accurate that the organization reached a financial settlement with a female staffer who claimed to be at a strip club with you, and there was a colleague who attempted to sexually assault her? Was there a financial settlement?
Senator, I was not involved in that. I don't know the nature of how that played out.
But you understand there was a financial settlement for a young female staffer who accused another member of the organization, not you, of sexual assault in a strip club.
We have multiple statements on the record referring to that.
But you claim you were not there when that occurred.
Absolutely not.
Now, the behavior I cited, if true, Do you think that this behavior of intoxication, going into these type of establishments, women on your staff being so uncomfortable that they have to file these sort of harassment claims, do you think this is appropriate behavior for a leader?
Senator, the overwhelming majority of anyone who's worked for me, including the on-the-record statements that have been submitted to this, with their name on it, on the record, men and women who worked with me every day, are the overwhelming preponderance of evidence that testify to my leadership and professionalism in leading Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for America. My
Okay.
leadership has been completely impugned on these veterans organizations that did fantastic work.
Mr.
on behalf
Hegseth,
of
I'm not
men
even
and
gonna
women
go
fighting
into the-
overseas
I'm not even
and
gonna go into
advocating,
the
and we managed our
accusations.
financial books with integrity across the board. How many people, everybody who runs a campaign.
I have limited time. I'm not going to get into the accusations that come from Fox News. I know you have some of your Fox News colleagues here. There were multiple instances of accusations against you about drinking on the job.
All
coming
anonymous,
in.
all false, all refuted by my colleagues who I worked with for 10 years at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and everything
The
in
challenge
between,
here for me,
and
Mr.
said
Hegseth,
they've only seen me be professional
is when there is
every
discussion
single time.
about personal challenges, and you admittedly had issues with heavy drinking. It's hard to kind of square this, to square the circle here. It's kind of a difficult thing to do. Let me ask you, if I have about 90 seconds left here, if you had to answer these questions about sexual assault against you and your drinking and your personal conduct, would it have been different if you were under oath?
Senator, all I'm pointing out is the false claims against me.
Okay, I take it you do not want to answer that question. I walked into this hearing this morning concerned that you haven't demonstrated adequate leadership in your civilian roles. And this is a dangerous world we're living in here. And America cannot afford a Secretary of Defense who is unprepared for that mission. I'm going to leave with concerns about your transparency. You say you've had personal issues in your past, yet when asked about those very issues, you blame an anonymous smear campaign, even when many of these claims are not anonymous. Which is it? Have you overcome personal issues, or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. It's clear to me that you're not being honest with us or the American people because you know the truth would disqualify you from getting the job. And just as concerning as each of these specific disqualifying accusations are, what concerns me just as much is the idea of having a Secretary of Defense who is not transparent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back my 2 seconds.
Thank you, Senator.
You said in your statement, you don't want politics in the DOD. Everything you've said in these public statements is politics. I don't want women. I don't want moms. What's wrong with a mom, by the way? Once you have babies, you therefore are no longer able to be lethal.
Would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland.
Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk. I know you've denied that, but you would agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense.
Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality
They're not anonymous.
The letters
We've
on the
seen-
record here.
They're not anonymous.
On the record, people
We've
who've
seen
worked
records
me
with
at
names
Vets for
attached to
Freedom.
them.
Senator Kaine, or I guess I better use the senator from Virginia, starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it because I know you have.
I don't want a long answer. Yes or no. Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally responsible.
Yes or
with the
no,
money
did
that
you
we
lead
had.
an audit?
And the way
yes
my
or
leadership
no,
has
did you
been
lead an audit?
stated
Yes or
has
no?
been completely
What are you afraid of? You
mischaracterized.
can't answer this question. Yes or no, did you lead an audit? Do you not know this answer?
Senator, every
Yes or
part
no?
of my leadership
Yes
of these
or no?
organizations,
Yes
I'm not a perfect person, but redemption is real. And God forged me in ways that I know I'm prepared for. And I'm honored by the people standing and sitting behind me, and look forward to leading this Pentagon on behalf of the warfighters.
What made Kelly's exchange sting was the absence of drama. There was no viral shouting match, no theatrical interruption, no overplayed outrage. Instead, Kelly moved like a prosecutor building a pattern. Memorial Day in Virginia, a summer event in Cleveland, a Christmas party in Washington, a party bus, then Louisiana. One by one, he laid out episodes tied to Hegseth's time leading Concerned Veterans for America and asked for a direct denial. Hegseth mostly stuck to the same shield, anonymous smears. But repetition can become its own kind of evidence in the eyes of viewers. The more Kelly simplified the questions, the more the non-answers started to fill the room. And for a nominee seeking command credibility, silence and deflection can sometimes land harder than an outright scandal. The strip club allegation was the point where this hearing stopped feeling like a morality play and started feeling like a workplace leadership test. Kelly asked whether Hegseth had taken staff, including young female staff members, to a strip club while on official business in Louisiana. Hegseth answered, "Absolutely not." Kelly then asked about a reported financial settlement involving a female staffer who said she was at a strip club outing where another colleague, not Hegseth, allegedly attempted to sexually assault her. Hegseth said he was not involved in that settlement and denied being there. That distinction is critical, and your edit should preserve it. But politically, the damage came from something bigger than any single allegation. Kelly was arguing that even the existence of these claims, combined with evasive answers, raised questions about the kind of culture Hegseth led and whether he could be trusted to lead the Pentagon.
Tonight, President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing growing skepticism of his chances for confirmation amid damaging news reports.
Do you need to address the questions about your character that have been raised in some of these reports?
And now, 10 current and former Fox News employees who worked with Hegseth, who hosted one of the network's morning shows, telling NBC News that he drank in ways that concern them. 2 saying that on more than a dozen occasions they smelled alcohol on him before he went on air. Quote, "Everyone would be talking about it behind the scenes," one of the former Fox News employees said. He should not be Secretary of Defense, another former Fox News employee said. His drinking should be disqualifying. A Trump transition spokesperson calling the allegations disgusting, completely unfounded, and false. An attorney for Hegseth referring us to the transition statement. Fox News did not respond.
Mr. Hegseth, so many of these stories about you have involved alcohol. Do you have a drinking problem, sir?
Now, NBC News has learned as many as 6 GOP senators are not comfortable supporting Hegseth's nomination, according to multiple Republicans with direct knowledge of the nomination process. Hegseth can only afford to lose the support of 3 Republicans if all Democrats vote no.
The articles I've read, some of them are concerning. I don't know if it's true or not, but he'll go through the process. He'll be asked about it. We'll see what happens.
There are questions that some members have, and we're going to be working for an answer.
Are you among the members who have questions?
Well, I'm looking to be supportive.
But no Republican senator has publicly said they will oppose Hegseth, who's also a decorated combat veteran.
I think they've got a really good shot of getting them all through.
Meanwhile, late tonight, another Trump pick abruptly pulled his name from consideration. Chad Cronister, the sheriff in Hillsborough County, Florida, withdrawing his selection for administrator of the Drug Enforcement Administration, posting, quote, "Over the past several days, as the gravity of this very important responsibility set in, I've concluded that I must respectfully withdraw from consideration."
And Garrett, the Trump team has also now reached an agreement with the Justice Department for an FBI background check of nominees.
Yeah, that's right, Lester. It's called a Memorandum of Understanding, and some Republican senators had been urging the Trump transition to sign, worried that not getting these checks done in a timely fashion could delay confirmations or lead to unwelcome surprises just before hearings get started. Lester?
And that broader context matters. Kelly's questioning landed inside a hearing where Democrats were already pressing Hegseth on women in combat, his management history, and allegations of sexual misconduct and excessive drinking. Reuters reported that he endured fierce Democratic grilling, but remained largely intact with Republicans. NPR reported much the same, bruising questions, but a Republican conference that was moving toward unity. In other words, the hearing had 2 stories running at once. One was accountability. Could this nominee answer serious concerns? The other was political math. Could Republicans hold the line long enough to get him through? That is why Kelly's exchange remains so useful for a documentary-style breakdown. It captured the sharpest credibility problem of the hearing, even as the confirmation machinery kept moving. So what do we actually learn from this moment? Not that every accusation was proved, not that one senator single-handedly ended a nomination. What we learn is that Mark Kelly forced a nominee for Secretary of Defense into the most uncomfortable territory in Washington. Specific questions about personal conduct, professional culture, and transparency. Hegseth denied key allegations, especially the strip club claim, and rejected much of the rest as a smear campaign. But Kelly's deeper point survived the exchange. If you present yourself as an open book, you do not get to slam the cover shut when the questions become dangerous. And even though Hegseth was ultimately confirmed, the hearing left behind a record that still defines him. A calm senator asking simple questions, a nominee repeating the same defense, and a room that seemed to understand, in real time, that credibility had become the real battlefield.